Watch Kevin O'Leary destroy Gavin Newsom in this video. He actually calls him out by name, but before that, he goes point by point why Gavin Newsom has ruined California and ruined his chances as president, which is good news. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. And part of the why we're happy is because Gavin Newsom is not being mentioned as an alternate to Joe Biden. Even though he looks like a stereotype character of a Bond villain or an antichrist. Let's watch this together as we have a little laugh right here in Exile. Good economics right here.
Home affordability takes another hit. According to a new Zillow report, you can say goodbye to 20% down payments. The real estate company saying now you will need roughly 35% down.
Why 35% down? Because home prices are going up so much at the average monthly income. You take a percentage of it, about a third of it, and that's how you calculate how much house you can afford. So given houses are costing so much more, you actually need a higher percentage of your normal income to pay for your house and qualify for that loan.
This, as the latest NAR data shows, existing home prices jumped 5.8% from last year, the highest number ever recorded.
Multiple factors. Number one, obviously mortgage rates have gone from 3.75 to just over 7%.
Wow.
Just in the last 24 months. That's a problem.
The price of money got more expensive. They had to get those percentages up to tamp down inflation. Inflation was because too much cheap money was available. So Biden's going to lose if he lowers those interest rates, and then that's going to hurt borrowing for housing. The other thing is there's no inventory available. How can you build houses in a hostile business environment? Remember, for a long time, right after COVID, it was very hard even to get building supplies and wood and other state bureaucracy stuff, preventing businesses from being able to just freely work because of an oppressive government system made to punish building. Remember, Democrats and environmentalists don't want you to be able to build in certain areas. They want to try and keep a pristine environment because they're hippies and they believe we should be trading seashells.
So this is all the reflection of rising rates. They haven't come off yet. People are very optimistic that the Fed will cut rates. Hasn't happened.
It's not going to happen, I believe, by the election. It's going to be very tough to pull off that one because the inflation, I don't know, they could just say, you know what, inflation's going to be here no matter what. Maybe it's going to get worse, but it's not going to get good enough to help Biden for the election.
Major home insurers are also creating headaches for American homeowners. State Farm now threatening to leave California if the state does not allow the company to raise insurance rates by as much as 52%. They say they have to raise it there to cover for natural disaster risks.
Even State Farm is leaving California. People are leaving California. By the way, California has one of the largest population of actual conservatives there. They're just a small percentage because of the amount of leftist wackos that are also in that state.
Well, in California, which is actually a dumpster fire for business for a whole lot of reasons, and this is just another evidence of what's happening there.
Ooh, that's a slight against Gavin Newsom, that California is a dumpster fire being hostile to business. That means this is entirely preventable. This is purely a matter of policy that's causing this. This is a avoidable accident.
This is around fire, primarily, that's occurring there. A lot of fires. You know, we've had some relief on water there recently.
So the fires are also an environmental problem. That's the other thing that causes all their wildfires. They will not clear out fuel and underbrush in their forests because they're environmentalists that don't want to touch anything. They want to leave it pristine. Or they say that even fires are part of the natural, cycle of life. But their forestry service is not able to do their jobs. They don't allow, before there were lumber companies that were allowed to cut down trees and remove old growth, old dilapidated or fallen down trees. And then came the spotted owl. Remember, they had to save the spotted owl, so they started shutting all that down. There was a lot of brush. They have terrible maintenance there. And then when a fire hits, it is explosive. And California constantly has multiple wildfires going right now, always. They never fully put all the fires out in California.
So we're seeing major increases, not just, in California or Florida. Any coastal state has issues now.
What's the one thing that coasts have in common? Rich people, it costs a lot of money to have a house on the coast. So our coasts are just caked in rich white elites, and that means Democrats.
But California is unique. A whole bunch of policy mistakes around taxation, minimum wages, environmental issues. It is a mess there. It is an absolute mess. And I actually think it's really hurt Gavin Newsom's chance of being considered as a presidential candidate because he owns that dumpster fire. That state is a mess.
Gavin Newsom, your state's a mess. You own that dumpster fire. It's your fault, is what Kevin O'Leary is saying. This is the first I heard of this too, that now Gavin Newsom, because California looks so bad on his curriculum vitae that he can't run on it. He looks terrible. So that it would be actually a weak spot on him if he ran. They'd be able to point to California and say, you did that, just like Joe did that to the price of gas. Gavin Newsom ruined the most beautiful state in the United States. Democrats in charge. And now you don't get to be president. Are you happy with that?
You can see this happening stateside in the competition of states. Elizabeth Warren's super tax in Massachusetts. I left there in Massachusetts. I moved to Florida. Most of my neighbors where I live are all from hometown Boston. We can't afford to live there anymore. And good luck with her on that.
Even multi-millionaires like Kevin O'Leary don't want to live in Massachusetts and pay their terrible tax rates, or live in New York, or live in California. It's punishment. So they're actually driving out their jobs, their taxpayers, their income. You know, France right now is proposing a 90% income tax. And all that happens is then rich people will just leave your country. They go to Monaco, they go to Italy, they go to all these other really cool places, anywhere that has a lower tax base. Democrats never learn this lesson. They keep thinking they can raise taxes and everyone's going to be fine with paying it. No, it's not. The free market makes people move.
Same thing with AOC. These ideas don't work. They just don't work.
They just don't work because they're Democrat ideas. And you don't want Democrats in charge of anything. Anything they touch turns to death. You don't want them to touch your military because suddenly recruitment is down because no one wants to join your weirdo woke military. Schools, test scores go down through the floor. Any public service they're in charge of. The DMV is famous for being incredibly inefficient, a waste of time. Everyone's salaries are bloated. Everyone's retirement is giant. And yet they can't get the job done because Democrats are not like normal businessmen where you cut inefficiency. You pinch pennies to maximize your profits. And there's no incentive to do that when you have state jobs, giant bloated bureaucracies, which the Democrats are all trying to protect and defend. And of course, there's the union jobs, all right? The unions, which are all only 2%, but they're the rich people going like, that's not my job. Protect my job. Protect me from having to face the market. What do you guys think of what Kevin O'Leary said? Does Gavin Newsom have a chance for president? Could they still pull a little surprise? Or is California such a blight on his record that he could not run? Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. We love hearing from you. I'm Doug in Exile.